right, Roger, you know tomorrow's 524.
May 24th?
May 24th.
All right.
Celebration of the 524.
Okay.
In celebration of that, just thought I'd ask you a few questions about it.
Absolutely.
So when did you start making 5-string basses?
We did our first batch of 5 strings in 1990. Our first batch of 5 strings were on our undersized J body that we've always done. There wasn't a lot of hardware and pickup choices in those days, so we ended up with the shallower 5-string roller bridge, which has a fairly narrow string spacing. So the instrument was spaced much more narrowly than what we do now. Right. And it also had, the only pickups we could get that worked for us was a Bartolini single coil. And so that was the first pickup we used. Yeah. And so once we got that, a few of those basses into the hands and got feedback from people coming into the shop, the thing that surprised me is how many people were saying, well, if it's a 5-string, I want 24 frets. It's because as soon as they had a 5-string in their hand, they're thinking about soloing more. Right. And so then they wanted the extra register. So then once we started laying out a 24-fret instrument, with a J pickup in the neck position, it gets really close to the end of the neck, and for some people there wasn't enough room for slapping and popping the G. The best pickup we found at the time was a EMG Sopar. Right. And they were wider than this, so especially with the extra width, it was just too crowded. So we kicked both pickups closer to the bridge. Okay. And the result of that was a tighter, punchier sound. But the initial basses after the first 12 were 24 frets with the Sopars.
And then what about the body shape?
The body shape is exactly the same as our regular J, except this is a deeper cutaway. And with this deeper cutaway, we shorten the horn as well. But from this point all the way around to this point, it's exactly the same as our standard 4-string body.
What have been your challenges with the B string? I know a lot of bass makers have a lot of challenges, but
well, from doing a lot of repair work over the years, I didn't find that any 35-inch B strings instruments, 5-string instruments, that I didn't find the 35s necessarily had any. It's a better B string than the 34s we were seeing. My customers are all used to 34, so I made the decision to stay with 34 for our 5 strings. Right. And so yeah, we've been. The one thing we did a lot of experimenting with B strings is we found the taper B chord was what we preferred, not only for tension, but for intonation issues. Once you get a full chord B, this saddle has to come all the way back, and a lot of bridges don't even have room to pull the saddle that far back.
Is it true you're not going to make 5 strings anymore after this, and you have to buy up what's in the shop? This is it, right?
Yeah, that's right. 524, we're done.
We're done. That's it.
Okay. All right.